This episode of the Dungeoncast is brought to you by Battleground of the Gods. You take a single step and are transported to a world of mythology, skill, and amazement. Battleground of the Gods, a Smite podcast, is here to guide you on this journey step by step. Whether you're new to the game or an experienced veteran, Battleground of the Gods has something for everyone. Whether it's Battleground University, teaching new players key points of the game, or the Hat of Purgatory, where we meme on the co-hosts. Each episode has something new and exciting to help you get through your day and back to the Battleground. If you love Smite, this is the podcast for you. Find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, GooglePlay, and every major listening app, even your grandmother's 8-track. Battleground of the Gods, 5 friends bullshitting about Smite and loving every minute of it. Want to place an ad with us? Reach out, thedungeoncast@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Will.
And I'm Brian.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from Woeful Waters to Westward Wanderers. And today, we're revisiting the Warlock. All right, Brian. It's Warlock time.
It is again.
Again.
It's been some time. It's been Warlock time.
Indeed,
yes.
Indeed. And so we're going to talk about 3 different subclasses from the Warlock class. One subclass was in Sword Coast Adventures Guide.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were introduced in Xanathar's Guide.
All right. Has the Sword Coast Adventures Guide we're going over, that subclass, has it been reprinted in Xanathar as well?
No, it was only in Skag.
That seems strange that they had the opportunity and what seemed like the binding capable of handling these reprints and decided not to do it.
I think the subclasses they chose not to reprint from Skag were the ones that were Forgotten Realms specific.
Oh, okay.
And you could argue that the first one we're going to talk about is a little bit, but I actually kind of feel like this one's not that Forgotten Realms specific.
I mean, what makes it forgot? I guess.
So, for an example, the Purple Dragon Knight was a.
Oh yeah, I remember that because the Purple Dragon Knights were a faction.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's
the Blade Singers with Wizards, which we haven't talked about yet. That's a Forgotten Realms thing specifically. The Battle Rager didn't get reprinted because that was a specific Forgotten Realms.
That's just so weak. Thing. Like, just change the name and you keep the mechanical.
I don't know. It's just something they went with. I know there were a few others too. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple cleric ones. It's hard for me to keep it all straight, so I don't quite remember.
Is it for book sales? Like what is this about?
Well, I mean, they reprint stuff, so I don't think it's for book sales. I think it was just like, well, this is the Forgotten Realms book, the Sword Coast book. So anything that's specifically Forgotten Realms, we're not going to like waste money reprinting.
Maybe that's maybe that's the part I'm not understanding.
Yeah, because if someone's running a Forgotten Realms campaign, then they're going to want this book. But if they're not, then they don't necessarily need it.
Okay,
right. But let's get into it. So the first subclass we're going to talk about today is called the Pact of the Undying.
Ooh.
So this was again from Sword Coast Adventures Guide. The Undying is essentially a patron who was once a living mortal, but through the accruement of power and secret knowledge has kind of gained immortality via undeath and ascended to something greater. So this could be a number of things. This could be like a deity of undeath, like Vecna is a good example. Vecna was a mortal, became a lich, and then eventually became a god. It could also just be a powerful lich like a Sararak or some other powerful lich, just someone powerful enough to grant warlockdom, if you will.
Yeah.
I would argue maybe Strahd von Zarovich could be. I mean, his stat block is a little weak for that, but like I would argue that the stat block reflected in Curse of Strahd is a little weak, considering Strahd should be pretty fucking powerful.
Okay.
Maybe even Lord Soth, a Death Knight, could probably be an Undying patron, maybe. Possibly.
Okay. Powerful enough to string these threads of communication to
indeed.
The Warlock.
Exactly. This the Undying path is essentially the necromantic warlock path. So by taking it, you're going to end up gaining access to a lot of spells within the school of necromancy. So some of your expended spells will be like, or expanded spells will be like False Life, Ray of Sickness, Speak with Undead, Contagion, just real nasty stuff.
Yeah,
stuff to do with dead bodies.
Yum.
But let's get into the feature. So level 1, you're going to get a feature called Among the Dead. With this feature, you will gain the Spare the Dying cantrip, which will actually kind of come up later with some features later on. We'll talk about. You also will gain advantage on saves versus disease at this point, which is pretty handy. I don't know how. It really depends on how often diseases come up in your campaign. Like, they don't really come up in mine a lot.
I mean, maybe you're in
maybe
you're in like a wasteland or something like that, where you can like just walk around and get like radiation poisoning or something like that.
Well, also there are some monsters that like when they hit you, you have risk of disease. Like,
okay, yeah.
So there is that. So it is useful.
I've definitely been hit by some of those.
Right. Also, undead have difficulty hurting you. Whenever an undead creature targets you with an attack or spell, it must make a wisdom save versus your spell DC. If they fail, they must choose another target or forfeit their turn.
Damn, they might just like not hit you altogether.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool if you're fighting a lot of undead. On a success, though, if they succeed their save, they will be immune to your feature for the next 24 hours.
Oh, they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay good.
Right.
Okay.
And also,
makes sense.
if you attack an undead creature, they're immune to this feature. So it's not like you can attack undead and they have to constantly do
well,
this.
it's kind of cool to like...
you can kind of walk amongst them, which is why it's called Among the Dead.
Yeah, and that will give you tactical advantage in combat. Like, I make you attack somebody else, and I can attack that guy from a distance or behind or whatever. But how would this work mechanically? Would it be... this creature is going to choose a target to attack, so that means that it used movement? Or would you say this is before movement?
So let's say you're the Warlock, I'm the Dungeon Master, and you're fighting a bunch of zombies. And so I'm like, okay, zombie 1 is going to move to attack your Warlock.
Right.
We'll move it on over. Before I can make the attack, though, I have to make the save.
Okay.
And so if I fail... my only option is I can attack someone else if I have enough movement to get to someone else, and if I don't, I just have to forfeit my turn.
Okay, and if you do have movement to attack somebody else, now you're in opportunity attack territory where the Warlock could take reaction?
If the Warlock has a reaction, they can choose to use it. But being a Warlock, there's only kind of a 50-50 chance that the Warlock's even worth anything in melee.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, yeah.
It might be a blade lock, but it might not be, so you might be able to just walk away.
Yeah.
Later.
I figured that would be the case. And if you do choose to take the opportunity attack against it, you immediately negated the thing you just did. And now that creature's going to stay put to attack you next turn, right?
I don't think the opportunity attack stops you from moving. You just take damage. And then
you take the damage and it would walk away, but then the effect of that save is now worn off, right?
Yeah, it would have to save again if it tried to attack you again.
Okay.
Right. So they've just...
it wouldn't, right? Because you attacked it, or then...
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, you made an attack even though it was opportunity attack. So yeah, you're now no longer immune.
Okay.
So
don't opportunity attack it.
Yeah,
probably.
so don't opportunity attack it. But like, okay, if I'm dungeon mastering this and the zombie starts walking away and you attack it, I'm not really going to make it turn around to attack you.
Yeah, because I've already committed to the movement.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So that's what you get at level 1, Among the Dead. At level 6, you get another feature called Defy Death. So with this, you can give yourself vitality when either you yourself cheat death or when you help someone else do so. So essentially, you gain 1d8 plus your Constitution mod and HP when you succeed on a death save.
Nice.
Or stabilizing a creature with Spare the Dying, which again you got at level 1, like we talked about before. So
that's pretty powerful.
You go around sparing the dying, and you can heal yourself while you're doing it.
Right on.
You can only do it once per long rest, though. So it's actually only a one-off.
That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it's free HP. Yeah. See, okay, so here's kind of a running theme for me when it comes to the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide is a lot of the Forgotten Realms specific subclasses are kind of on the weaker side of things.
That's interesting. Okay.
Like this Defy Death thing, like it sounds solid, but it's like, oh, it's only once per long rest. It's like, what are other people getting at level 6? Usually stuff that's better than this one, like not even great heal. A D8's cool, but your con mod's probably not that great. You're a Warlock.
Yeah, well, mine's okay.
And it's not Warlock. It's not even based on your Warlock level. Like 1d8 plus con, so it doesn't even scale really.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and only once per long rest. Not great. Not a great feature.
I mean, like, what's that spell that a lot of clerics get? It will heal like a bunch of targets by a D4.
I mean, mass heal wins.
Mass heal
word or whatever.
It's pretty much like my party went down, and we need one more round to kill this guy, and like here it is. So it's gonna give somebody another round no matter what the HP scale is.
Which is cool, but at the same time, again, like I get like you'll see when you compare this feature to other level 6 Warlock features.
Well, I know what you're saying. Like as you level,
weak.
It gets worse and worse.
Yeah, and honestly, even at level 6, it's not exactly stupendous.
Right.
So, but there it is. Defy Death.
Yeah.
You get a free heal at some point.
Honestly, if your friends are dying more than once per day, you're probably meant to die.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You don't even want to have to use this feature that often because it means that people are dying.
Right. I typically don't have to do this at all or
Right.
even attempt it in my real day-to-day life.
Right. So moving on to level 10, you get a feature called Undying Nature. Now, this is a really cool feature. And if it wasn't for the fact that the last two features were weak, I would say this feature is amazing.
Oh, okay.
But because the last two features are weak, this feature is unfortunately lackluster because this feature is almost strictly flavor. So with Undying Nature, you gain the ability to hold your breath indefinitely and no longer need food or water. Now that's cool and does have some mechanical stuff, but that's, let's be honest here, for most games, that's just mostly flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, the breath thing's kind of cool because you can go underwater. I'm sure it will be useful.
I haven't played a D&D game yet where like I've had to worry about what to eat for breakfast.
Right, exactly. Or needing to breathe really
And
either.
I tried to DM a game where like I wanted that included for like plot, just like flavor for the plot, but I was never like, you better roll a nature check.
Right.
Oh, that deer
exactly.
gets away. Looks like you're gonna starve.
Right, exactly. There's another half to this feature though. You also age slower at this point. For every 10 years that you live, you only age 1 year. You are also immune to being aged magically. So you're immune to that ghost ability we talked about in the ghost episode.
Right.
So again, really cool flavor, but not very good mechanically in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like it basically you get nothing at level 10.
Huh.
You just get some cool factor at level 10.
Well, is the Forgotten Realms setting meant for you to kind of play a survival game up a little bit?
No. Forgotten Realms is the reason that Forgotten Realms became the default setting for D&D is because it was the closest thing to just your general high fantasy, generic kind of thing.
And it was called Forgotten Realms, and they continued to write it, and they were like, hey, this is good for our game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So no, it's not supposed to be gritty or survival specifically in any way, shape, or form.
It has a Duorden in it.
Indeed, exactly. So your final feature that you get at level 14 is called Indestructible Life. So at level 14, you have a certain level of regeneration at this point. As a bonus action, you may regain HP equal to 1d8 plus your Warlock level. Additionally, if you use this feature while putting a severed body part back into place, it will reattach.
Okay.
So once per short. So at this point, you're kind of like riding that line between being undead and alive.
You can marry Shelly yourself back together.
Right,
whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I feel
But
like
how
I
often
saw
do you get what's the word,
limb cut off?
amputated? Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't really happen usually. Like
this is very specific flavor. Like
as a DM, I would be like, oh yeah, this guy can reattach body parts. Oh, your arm got cut off.
Like my picture of like a battle scene in Dungeons and Dragons is very much Final Fantasy based, where like I am swinging a sword and hitting you in the face and chest,
And you're fine.
and you just like took a numerical like hit and not like you're not bleeding. Like I try
Right.
to incorporate some of that stuff into my dungeon. Like if you get hit with an arrow, like there's an arrow in your shoulder that maybe you just like popped out real quick.
Right.
Or like
I understand where you're coming from. That's
Yeah.
actually one of the criticisms about Dungeons and Dragons is that the combat system is so mechanical and it almost draws you out of the immersion of the role playing.
Yeah, and I see
I mean,
that,
it is
though.
a hurdle, and you can get over it, and to do so, you have to work at it, and it's not perfect.
Yeah, and
but,
it's like, how do I explain other injuries when I get hit with swords and stuff? It's just like,
Right.
no, dude, when we're in combat, like we are playing Final Fantasy, and then it's almost like two different games are going on, and I split back to normal role play. So like, it all depends for this. It sounds like what it is you're trying to bring to the table. Where like, is this relevant? Did you lose a hand? Now this guy is super OP.
Right. I would say as the years go by, the longer you DM, the more easy it is to integrate the two things and keep it feeling like one flowing game instead of two separate games.
Yeah.
Which again, that is a criticism that happens with Dungeons and Dragons a lot. That it does feel like two separate games, and it can for sure.
I mean, like literally, you're like walking across the map in Final Fantasy, and then star wipe, and now there's the combat.
Right.
Yeah, and I can no longer move. I have to attack or do magicka.
That's too funny. Okay, so that's it on the Undying. It's essentially you're kind of undead. You serve an undead patron who probably wants undead things to happen.
Yeah.
Generally, a lot of the undead patrons are not going to be very nice entities. So you're probably not going to be doing very nice things for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this path, it doesn't necessarily have to, but it definitely should probably walk the line of evil to a certain degree. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. Any thoughts before we move on?
No, yeah, it's definitely evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think that happened in Nightmare Before Christmas, where like somebody's arm falls off or whatever, and they just like pop it up back to their
that's
shoulder
because she's a doll. Yeah.
But I think like something else happened. No, maybe it was that.
Yeah,
it was probably that.
It was super that.
It's just sewing your shit back on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. So the next subclass we're going to talk about today is the Celestial Patron.
Okay.
So
That's pretty cool. It's like the opposite of this almost.
in a lot of ways, yeah.
Well, I guess
sure.
the Celestial and D&D, the opposite is more like
A
demons
fiend.
or
a fiend. Yeah, for sure. It's about positive and negative planes.
Right.
So the Celestial Patron is essentially a powerful entity of the positive planes. This can be a solar angel, an Empyrean, which we haven't really talked about. It'll get its own episode one day. A Kirin, which hasn't gotten its episode. A Kirin's almost like a dragon horse celestial angel thing.
A dragon horse.
Yeah, they'll get its own episode.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's a really cool. That's a really cool entity.
I would pay $5 to ride a dragon horse at my local carnival.
I know, right? Or even a god. Obviously, I think god is the most obvious one. You know, a good entity.
It's easy for a god to make a warlock.
Right, exactly. Warlocks of this pact often find themselves with kind of lawful and zealous charges, such as like, it is your job to eradicate all undead wherever you see them, or you're given like a specific target of like a very powerful fiend, of like your life mission is to do everything you can to thwart and kill this fiend.
Nice.
Or just, you know, go out there, do good works, you know, go out there and protect the sick and the weak and the poor and the downtrodden and all that stuff.
Do 10 good deeds a day.
Right, exactly. So it's an interesting take on like the pious type character, like a cleric or a paladin,
where you have like a to-do list, a day-to-day to-do list, or you lose your powers.
Yeah, sure. You could go with it like that. But this is essentially a divine path for the warlock, which is pretty cool. I think this is probably, well, it's definitely not my favorite, because my favorite will be the last one that we talk about today. But it's a close second of my favorite path that we're going to talk about today. So the spells that you get in your expanded spell list for this path kind of focus on that which is like light and good. So you get spells like Cure Wounds, Flaming Sphere, Daylight, Guardian of Faith, Flame Strike, a lot of fire.
Yeah, things that either like are holy or just look holy.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so. You're going to get bonus cantrips of Light and Sacred Flame.
God, Flame Sphere is a really cool spell that I wish was better.
That's Flame Sphere for you. It was like that in 4E as well.
Jeez.
So the first feature you get is called Healing Light. You can channel celestial energy in order to heal wounds. So you end up getting a cool secondary resource here where it's a pool of D6s.
Okay.
And you gain a pool of D6s equal to your Warlock level +1. And as a bonus action, you can heal one creature you see within 60 feet of you by spending these dice. There is a limit though. You can only spend up to your charisma mod at one time. Does that make sense? So if you have a 16 charisma, that's a +3 mod. You can only ever spend 3 dice at a time at that point.
I see.
Gotcha. So nice little extra healing that doesn't take any spell slots, which is pretty nice, because as a warlock you don't have a lot of spell slots. So healing via spell slots would really not be an option for a warlock.
Less like a pool, more like a pond, I think.
I guess so. Yeah. Sure. At level 6, you gain a feature called Radiant Soul. So with this one, you gain resistance to radiant damage, and when you cast spells that deal fire or radiant damage, you can add your charisma mod to the damage roll.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, this is level 6. Remember, the level 6 for the last one we talked about was you basically get a one-off, not very good prolonged rest heal.
Yes.
So very, very, very
Another one
different.
of those then?
Huh? No, that's what I'm saying.
It to the last
like
one.
this is very potent.
Yes.
And like I was
The other
saying
one
with
is
the
not.
last one, it was just not. And like this is your perfect example of what a
extra
warlock should be getting.
Extra turns are good, but they're not as good as like, this is basically Agonizing Blast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
for all fire and radiant damage.
I feel like most people take that invocation.
Right, it's hard not to.
Yeah,
it's
it makes your bread and butter
sound.
taste that much better.
Indeed. So at level 10, you get a feature called Celestial Resistance. You gain temporary HP whenever you finish a short or long rest equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma mod. So you got a little bit of extra bufferment there.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can also choose up to 5 creatures within 30 feet of you to gain temporary HP equal to half your Warlock level plus your Charisma mod. So you're really team friendly.
Yeah,
you're a people
totally.
person at this point, and you're helping all your allies just be a little bit buffer.
Yeah, and you as a warlock probably need like all the little bit you can get. Like,
True.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of squishy as a warlock.
you
Maybe
shouldn't
not
take-
wizard level, but you're pretty squishy.
You're up there though.
Yeah, for sure. And then finally, your big one that you get is called Searing Vengeance.
Okay.
So when you make a death save, you may instead spring to life with a burst of radiant energy. You can just say, nah, bitch. You regain HP equal to half your max HP, and each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you takes radiant damage equal to 2d8 plus your charisma mod, which isn't that much damage, but it's solid, and is also blinded until the end of your turn.
Wow.
Now, they don't get to dodge or save against it. This is the damage they take, and they're blind for a turn.
But you imagine like you get hit by like a car or something like that,
right.
And then you just like you're on the ground, but then like you're immediately up, and the car is like fucked up because like this halo of light came down and cascaded upon you.
Exactly.
Wow.
And this is obviously once per long rest, but you're probably only going to get knocked unconscious once per long rest. So
I mean, let's hope. That's kind of we touched on that before. It's like if your friends are dying more than once per day, somebody's
wrong,
not doing
for sure.
the right stuff.
Yeah, indeed. So that's it for the Celestial. I mean, that's your breakdown. It's pretty cool. Again, this one definitely rides the line of good.
I really like the patron potential here for like, a solar angel.
Oh yeah, that'd be super dope.
Like, what are they like? You know?
Exactly. You can start exploring some of the lesser known Celestials if you want, which would be pretty cool.
They're what's his name? Cyclops John Scott. Was that his name?
Scott Summers?
Scott Summers. Who the fuck is John Scott?
I think that's from the Office character.
That might be.
Oh no, that's Michael Scott.
That's Michael Scott.
Okay, I don't know.
Well, whoever John Scott is, sorry, but
whoever John Scott is, shout out to you.
What was I saying?
I don't know. Cyclops.
Oh yeah, how Wolverine in the old X-Men cartoons is like, you're such a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
He's like always making fun of him for being like a goody two shoes.
Right.
Like, I always like he would be a solar angel.
Yeah, sure.
He would
I can see
like
that.
his personality.
He's got the person. Well,
he's kind of like a stickler for the rules, you know.
Yeah,
sort of an asshole about it.
He used to be in the comics. He is not.
Well,
like
now
that
he's like,
at
I'm
all.
a loose cannon.
Yeah, now he's a loose cannon and
literally
an asshole.
Like I can just blow you to fucking smithereens at any point. You and all my friends.
I think it's time for a short rest.
Let's just take a short rest.
All right.
Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the episode. We're not talking about that last thing. We're talking about our love for you, the listener. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, thank you for listening to the Dungeoncast.
Thank you.
Thanks for telling your friends about the Dungeoncast.
Thank you.
I think we're running a contest to help you tell. We're trying to help you
help us
tell people about the Dungeoncast, the podcast that you're listening
Indeed.
to. So what's all that about?
So yeah, we're giving away actually 2 copies of the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. And that's the newest D&D book coming out on November 20th, I believe. And it's going to be a new D&D setting with new options for both players and Dungeon Masters. It's really exciting. It looks like it's going to be a really good book. We'll probably review it here on the channel. But if you want to get your hands on one of these 2 copies that we're giving away, all you got to do is share the show. You can share the show on social media. You can share the show word of mouth. But however you do share the show, just send us proof that you done shared the show. And if you do that, you'll be entered into the contest. We'll be announcing both of our winners on November 20th on Twitter and also on whatever the nearest episode we record on after that date.
Totally. So if you hashtag Dungeoncast on Twitter, like at the Dungeoncast, then that will find that.
Yeah, I'll find that. So yeah, if you share it on Twitter with the hashtag Dungeoncast, that's one way to do it. If you share it on Facebook or any other social media, go ahead and take a snapshot and send us an email. I've had entries of people like texting, like group texting their friends and sending me screenshots of that. I've had people send videos of them telling people about it, both on the street or their family or friends. So however you want to share the show, just show us the proof.
And now there are more ways to share the show than ever.
Indeed.
Find us on Instagram, the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian, and it's pretty much like I converted my Instagram to the Dungeoncast Instagram, which has been cool. I'm going to post something pretty soon where if you like repost it, it counts as a share. As long as you put a link at the bottom, just follow the rules. But I realize there's no good way right now as we are recording this that there's no good way to share it on Instagram. So I'm going to make a way, which you will have seen if you follow us on Instagram before you hear this, most likely. So
very nice.
Yeah, I just realized why haven't I done that?
I don't know.
I'm new. I'm brand new. Anyway, there's people in particular that we would like to thank.
Indeed.
So thank you for becoming patrons, Atomuse.
Thank you, Adam Muse.
And thank you for upping your pledge, Daniel Gonzalez. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Daniel.
that.
Indeed.
And yeah, thank you guys very much.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the new content. And $20 patrons, new Dungeoncast mugs will be coming your way as soon as possible. We'll be reaching out to you as soon as we got the new design set up.
Totally brand new art. We're kind of cleaning house on Patreon right now, making it a little easier to use, etc., with a little more direction. So you guys are getting the most of what you're paying for as far as the bonus content. And there's lots of it on there. But I think with that, we're going to get back to the show.
Let's get back to the show. And we're back.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome back to the podcast.
So we are going to talk about my favorite Warlock path, the path of the Hex Blade, which it's really cool.
Is
and
a
very
hex
flavorful.
is that like a hexagon, like the 8 paths of the blade, kind of?
No, a hex is like a curse.
Oh, like
They
juju.
cast hexes. Yeah, bad
Oh
juju.
no.
So okay, so this pact
Curse
is a little.
sword.
It's kind of strange because this pact is strangely tied explicitly to the Shadowfell and and even like to a certain degree the Raven Queen, which is just like why? Because so this path is all about integrating blade and spell, which of course is something I really, really adore. I think I've talked about it many times on this show. I just don't understand why it needed to be tied explicitly to the Shadowfell. It just feels very limiting, and I don't like it when they limit the flavor on things. But the general idea is that the patron that you've gained, which is either like one of the dark powers or the Raven Queen herself, or I don't know, maybe some lich from the Shadowfell. It could be any number of powerful entities from the Shadowfell that wield shadow magic. It could be a shadow dragon. But either way, no matter what it is, they give you access to magical sentient weapons carved from the stuff of shadow, whatever that means. And then that these weapons, much like a spell focus, augment a warlock's powers.
Okay, cool.
So essentially, you're a warlock that wields magical dope weapons.
Have you seen Peter Pan?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got like a crazy shadow guy.
He has a shadow.
Hasn't there been iterations of Peter Pan where like the shadow is malicious in a lot of ways and like tries to kill people?
I don't know.
Strangle somebody. That's ringing a bell.
Not terribly familiar with Peter Pan lore, so. But this isn't a Peter Pan podcast, so.
Well, it's the stuff of shadows. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it is a shadow, so
yeah.
I guess it is.
Can you
the stuff of
imagine getting
shadows.
like box comboed by a shadow?
No, that
and
would
you just
suck.
go down with your jaws broken.
That would suck. So with this path, your expanded spells are really focused on melee.
Okay.
So you get spells that are useful in melee, like Shield, and that's an obvious one. But you get a lot of Paladin-like spells like Wrathful Smite, Branding Smite, Staggering Smite, Banishing Smite.
I love smites.
Yeah, all the smite stuff, which is essentially like you hit someone really hard and also something magical happens.
Yeah, so hard that like you summon a bolt of lightning or whatever it
Right.
is. Yeah.
You also get elemental weapon, which I think adds elemental damage to your weapons.
Neat.
Right. So, anyways, let's get to the features.
Yeah.
Because this specific subclass is really front loaded, which is one of the things that attracts me to it. Because sometimes I get a little metagamey. I'm like, ooh, multi-class.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's.
I think people love to multi-class with Hex Blade Warlock.
Because it's so juicy, it's hard not to.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. So at level 1, you gain 2 features. The first one being Hex Blaze Curse. So with this feature, you gain the ability to cast a curse on other creatures. As a bonus action, you can choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The target is then cursed for 1 minute. You gain bonus damage to the target equal to your proficiency bonus, which is fairly potent. Any attack you make against that target crits on either a 19 or 20. That's pretty handy. If your cursed target dies, you regain HP equal to your warlock level plus your charisma mod.
Ooh.
You can curse someone this way once per short rest.
Nice. That's
So
powerful.
potent and useful in 3 different ways, plus it's per short rest. So already, honestly, like for balance's sake, that should probably be the only thing you get. But it's not.
But it's not. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So you also get a feature at level 1 called Hex Warrior. So with this feature, you gain proficiency in medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. You can also, once per long rest, touch a weapon that you are proficient with that also lacks the two-handed weapon property.
Uh-huh.
When you attack with this weapon, you can use your charisma mod for attack and damage rolls. So you don't even have to have good strength or dexterity for this class. You can pump it all into charisma.
Wow.
And just be really good at what you do. This is very 4th edition. That's how 4th edition was in a lot of ways, where it didn't matter if your Avenger was a melee fighter, you used wisdom for your power. So you just pumped the shit out of wisdom.
Really cool.
And it made you strong.
Nice.
So damn.
I'm so wise. It's coming out of my biceps.
Exactly. Which, I mean, maybe for immersion purposes, that's not the best, but it is very, very fun to play.
Yeah, I mean,
so powerful.
they're taking some liberties with their mechanics here for
Yeah.
sure, and it's making a warlock that is good at hitting you with weapons,
Which I'm a fan of.
yeah, very cool.
Level 6, you get another very flavorful and I would say fairly powerful feature called a Cursed Spectre. Which is very fitting because we just had that episode about specters.
Yeah.
You can curse the soul of a person you slay and bind it into your service. When you slay a humanoid, you can cause its spirit to rise as a specter.
Oh, what?
This specter has temporary HP equal to half your warlock level. The specter has its own initiative and turns. It follows your verbal commands and gains an attack roll bonus equal to your charisma mod. And it will last and stay around until the end of a long rest. You can only do this once per long rest. Now, this is really cool. But also, if you learn the lore about specters back in our specters episode, you're essentially consigning a soul to madness and oblivion.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a very
You're doing a horrific
You're
thing.
doing a very horrific thing. This is worse than murder.
Yeah.
Plus, you probably committed murder to get to this point.
It's murder plus.
Murder plus.
It's like you followed them afterwards and
Indeed.
like made them
He said,
continue to suffer.
You don't get an afterlife.
Like,
you
nah,
serve me now.
I'm not done with you.
And
Killing
only
you is
for
only
today.
The
After today, there's nothing. It's over.
Yeah, but for today though, you mine. Also, you're gonna get hit once and explode into oblivion or whatever.
Right, yeah, they're not exactly potent, but they do have that life training ability, and they would make excellent scouts because it follows your verbal commands, but they can't speak. Maybe you can get telepathy.
You can
That'd be
play
very
charades with your ghost friend.
there you go. Just write it down for me.
They're just
They understand language. I imagine they could still write. So.
yeah. Take your
there you
weapon
go.
and like draw whatever you saw in the sand.
There
They're
you
just
go.
drawing like fat ogres. They're
Yeah.
just like that way
That's amazing.
over
I
this
love
hill.
It.
Some
That's
fat ass ogres.
fantastic.
It's the Hinox from Breath of the Wild. It's just
Right,
a fucking
right.
cyclopean.
There you
like,
go.
Buddha guy.
So at level 10, you get a feature called Armor of Hexes. If the target of your Hex Blade Curse hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to roll a d6. On a 4 or higher, the attack misses you. Another very good feature.
I mean, yeah.
It doesn't take an action, or it takes a reaction, but like that's a renewable source. Like
Yeah, that's.
it's
I mean,
just a nice
this
way
is
to
really
maybe
cool.
not get hit. Just-
nice, powerful level 10 feature. Like midway. Like I like that a lot.
Also, this subclass can really pack on the damage too, because I believe your Hex Blaze Curse can also stack on top of an actual hex spell. So you're just all this extra damage on top of one very specific person.
Okay, yeah.
So very handy, very powerful. At level 14, you get a feature called Master of Hexes. You can transfer your hex from a slain creature to a target within 30 feet, but forego the HP regain. So essentially, you can only hex someone with your Hex Blaze Curse once per short rest, and then when they die, you get extra HP.
Okay.
This makes it so that instead of gaining the HP, you can actually just transfer the curse over, and you can
Nice.
keep doing that.
That's wow.
Which
That's
is
good.
handy.
Yeah.
which is very handy.
What's
You
that
kinda
ranger
want that.
spell that does that? The targeting one?
Oh, they can cast Hex as well.
Yeah,
Or it's
okay,
not
so
Hex
that's-
for them. It's it
It
works
works the same as
exactly
Hex.
as Hex,
Yeah.
but oh my gosh, what's it called? It's not Mark Your Prey. It's not Hunter's Quarry.
It's Hunter's Mark.
It's Hunter's Mark. There
Yeah,
we go.
you
I
did
almost
it.
had
You
it.
said both things, and
Indeed.
I took them and
Very nice.
I Lego
so,
bit them.
So yeah, that's the Hex Blade. You're just really good at fighting. You really integrate the magic, and you're fighting very well. You also get a dope ass Spectre servant whenever you want.
Well, whenever you want me,
Whenever
like,
you
go kill somebody.
Yeah, what
Whenever
you're
I
doing
kill.
anyways. You know, you're out there adventuring. You're probably killing humanoids.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
cool.
You
Can
could-
you kill like a?
I think you could raise a Spectre from a goblin.
Yeah. Okay, that's what
There
I was
you
gonna
go.
ask. Like,
Yeah.
or like a knoll or whatever.
Yeah, it says the soul of a person you slay. I'll have to reread the actual mechanics. I don't know if it was soul of a humanoid you slay.
It's
But
just-
yeah, but if it is a humanoid, that applies to orcs and hobgoblins and all that.
I
all
mean,
that stuff.
that's what vagrants are for.
Yeah. There you
No,
go.
no, they're not.
Can you imagine if you raised the Spectre from like a giant?
Oh God.
Giant
Like
Spectre.
like even just like a hill giant. Like
Yeah.
like, hey guys, can I have the KO on this hill giant? Trust me, it's gonna be dope.
I mean, it wouldn't work because it's not technically a humanoid.
I
I mean,
have
it
a-
is technically a humanoid, but it doesn't fall in a humanoid category.
I have a character in my game that summons a ghost with the ancestral warrior from the barbarian.
Oh, nice.
And but they're the only ones that can see the ghost. Is that normal? Would that be normal for this as well? Like, can everybody see the Spectre?
Everyone can see the Spectre because it's literally
That's a Spectre.
It's the Spectre from the Monster Manual.
Oh shit, man, that's
So there it
crazy.
is. Yeah.
This is wild.
So that's the Hex Blade. Very fun, very juicy, very flavorful,
Like the Undying one was really flavorful too, but it
but
was
not
like
nearly as cool.
it was like in a Tim Burton way. Like I just thought there was like this
Yeah.
creepy, like
Which
very
I
Nightmare
think-
Before Christmas. I kept thinking about it.
That's a pretty good vibe. That's the vibe I think that you should probably get from that.
And this is like some like,
Shadow Warrior.
This is some this is voodoo juju.
Yeah.
Blech.
Well, with that being said, we're gonna make a warlock, and it's your turn to make a character today.
Ooh, which one?
And yeah, so we'll be back. Brian's gonna figure out what the heck he's making, and yeah, we're gonna do it.
We've returned.
Indeed, we have.
And I have things.
You have things to say, a story to tell.
I dug through the minds of my mind, and I returned with ore.
So what are we building today, Brian?
We're gonna build the celestial path warlock. Are they
Okay.
paths? Is that what they're called? They're more
gosh.
just like options.
It's a
subclass.
celestial patron.
Yeah.
So there it is.
Yeah, I have a celestial patron. It's let me tell you a story about my elf character that's going to be level 6. He's probably level 5 at the beginning of the story. And
Okay.
becomes level 6.
Okay, I like that for sure.
But then he was level 5. No, cuz he was level 5 something else. You know what I mean? I'm not multi-classing this guy.
I mean, maybe he was just a guy, and then he instantly became a level 6.
I love it. He's just a guy that has like level 5 capabilities
Potential.
physically. Yeah,
Level
level
5
5 potential. We'll get like we'll have to call it level 6 potential. He's a level 6. He's a level 6 guy. My elf's name is Darkassin Darthoradin. And Darkassin Darthoradin, one day he said, I will climb this mountain of this town, and that people, it's like the Everest of his region.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to
It's the biggest mountain.
I'm going to mount this mountain like an elf man. And he decided he's going to climb it. And he said, I will keep myself warm with my fiery insides.
Okay,
And
cool.
he
So
didn't even go up.
he just went up
He
there.
didn't even go up with the jacket.
Okay.
And when he got to the top, and he did get to the top, and he walked past a bunch of bodies, just like on the real Mount Everest.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
And but
This
he-
is legit Everest situation.
yeah, and he gets up there and he's like, "Oh, I've done it," and he's flexing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's called a coatl.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like
or a coatl or a coatl.
Yeah, it's a big dragon. Well, it's not a dragon; it's a worm of some kind.
It's like a dragon-esque celestial entity with like big, almost bird or angel wings, you could say.
Take an eagle
Mm-hmm.
and then wrap that eagle around a unicorn, and then make
More
then-
like a snake.
Yeah, and then have a snake come, because it looked like it had like a horn on its face or
Did
whatever.
it? Okay.
It
I
does
guess
now.
so. It does now.
This one had a rainbow horn.
This one was a unicorn coatl.
And rainbow wings.
And rainbow wings. Nice.
Yeah,
I like
it's that kind of rainbow that you see on the inside of seashells. Or
Oh, okay.
oil.
So it's like, yeah, I know. Exactly what you
Iridescent,
mean.
is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think iridescent would be a fitting word for it.
But anyway, it comes out of the sky. The clouds break and the sun shines through. And here's this coatl, and he says, "You've been a sweet boy, climbing this mountain. I'm gonna give you some powers." And he kisses
Nice.
him on the cheek. He says, "Mwah."
Okay.
And from that point forth, Darkassin Darthoradin became Sweet Boy.
Sweet boy, the warlock.
Sweet Boy the Warlock.
All right, cool.
He has to always take out the trash,
Okay.
and he has to help old ladies across the street.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he has to destroy evil wherever he sees it.
Gotcha. Those
and
are
just-
his 3 charges.
Yeah, just generally be sweet.
Gotcha. He is a sweet boy,
Basic-
and his charge is to be a sweet boy.
This coatl, they got into it a little bit. Is the chaser of the northern wind, but he just goes by Chase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chase the coatl.
He said to Darkassin before he became Sweet Boy, "You must be excellent to everything, and then you must follow your dreams. Never get boring. No sadness allowed."
I like it. Okay. All right. I think I got a good feel for this character.
Yeah.
He's just kind of a chill, nice person.
He's a chill, nice dude. It has the will of the gods living within him,
And he's
now
level 6.
Yeah, so he gets some cool powers. I
so
think
he-
as an elf, I get a cantrip. I'm going to take Firebolt.
Okay.
+2 Dex, +1 Intelligence. I'm going to go with the high elf. because he got real high up on that mountain.
He did. Indeed, he did. So with your Celestial Path, you're going to get the Healing Light feature. So you get the kind of pool of D6s where you can heal people.
Right.
Which is a very sweet boy thing to do.
Yeah.
Also, level 6, you get the Radiant Soul feature, which you now have resistance to radiant damage.
I'm pretty sure I had that before I went up the mountain.
Yeah, well, maybe. Either way, you have it now. And also, when you cast spells that deal fire or radiant damage, you may add your Charisma mod to the damage roll.
Cool.
Which is pretty potent. But let's actually roll some stats for Sweet Boy.
Sweet boy. All right. So here's my D6s. I'm just going to be very gentle with them. Okay. So 5, 6, 5, 1.
So that's a 15.
Here, I'm going to give you.
No, that's a 16.
I'm going to give you a pen and paper, Will.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. There you go.
All right. So we have 116.
That's good. I'm off to a good start.
Which is an excellent start.
And then I've got a 1122 or no 1162. I'm sorry.
So
1 6. I'm sorry. This is a 4. Man, what the hell did I just say? 2264.
So 642. So that's a 12.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. No, you're already quite good.
I got a new dice and I'm not used to looking at it. I thought it was a 1. It was a 4.
Yeah, you got some funky dice over here.
Okay, this one is a 1 though.
Okay.
So 1, 3, 2, and 2.
Okay, so 3 and 2 is 5 plus 2 is a 7.
I didn't hear the number 7. I just heard the word bad.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, and then I got a 1, 3, 4, 4.
So 4, 4 is 8. So that's an 11.
That's not bad.
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
You got 2 more.
Be nice, dice. Okay, 5, 5, 3, 2.
Okay, 13.
Not bad.
And your final roll.
The final roll. Oh no, it's happening. My worst nightmare. Oh, okay, yeah. This is my worst nightmare. 3, 1, 1, 2.
Okay, so that's a 6. Oh my gosh, Sweet Boy has 2 very
It's not
blatant
wise.
weaknesses.
Sweet Boy's not wise.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. So we're gonna go ahead and con intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now you get a +2 to Dex and a +1 to intelligence. So what do you want to plug? I imagine the 16 goes into charisma, right?
Yeah,
it's
it
got
has
to,
to.
right? So you have a 16 charisma at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to put the 13 and the 12?
I'll put the 13 in the intelligence, and I'll put the 12 in the Dex.
So he's not only a sweet boy, but he's a pretty smart boy.
He's a smart, sweet boy.
And you put the 13 into Dex.
He's a Dexy boy.
Okay, so he's fairly dexterous.
He finessed his way up the mountain.
Because that makes that dexterity a 15. So
I thought it would make it a. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to put the 13 in intelligence and the 12 into Dex. So it's
so you got 2
kinda even
14s.
them out. Yeah.
You got a 16 and 2 14s. Now you have a 7, 11, and a 6. What do you do?
11 into strength.
Okay. Oh my God, you're gonna have a negative to your Constitution.
Yes.
Holy shit! I've never seen that in my life.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put a 7 in con.
Okay.
And a 6 in wisdom.
I actually got to figure out what these negatives are because I've never done this before. Oh my
Never
gosh.
seen so much minus.
I know. First, let me get your pluses because you have 2 +2s and a +3.
Nice.
You have a +0 for your strength.
Okay.
So 8 would be -1. So you have a -2 to your Constitution and a -2 to your wisdom. That was so close to a -3 to your wisdom. You're so goddamn unwise.
I'm not wise. I climbed a
Not at
mountain without
all.
a coat.
Okay, yeah. Let's figure out your HP, which you're starting at a 6 now because of that -2.
Yes.
Holy shit. So yeah.
Here's a 5, a 2, and a 2.
Okay, a 5, a 2, and a 2.
I'm rolling d8s for my HP, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's 9, and you have 2 more dice.
Yeah. Here we go. A 1 and a 3.
Okay, so that's 14. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, that's 13. But -10.
So I have 3 HP.
So no, yeah. Well, you gained 3. So now you're a level 6 character with 9 HP, my dude. What have you done?
This is just how it had to be.
So you're one-shot Bill, basically.
He never gets hit. He's only doing good in town.
Okay, cool. That's true. He's not exactly adventuring.
He's not starting fights.
But he could.
He could start a
He
fight.
is such a glass cannon.
He could end a fight.
He could end a fight, but he cannot keep a fight going.
He just doesn't hang out with adventurers because they're too powerful. He doesn't hang out with anybody too powerful and at risk of being destroyed.
That's ridiculous. Oh my God. 9 HP. Okay.
He's best friends
All
with
right.
a cleric.
You got anything else to say about Sweet Boy? He's best friends with the cleric. He's got to be,
He
right?
found a magic item that gave him temp HP every day.
So he's got to be a sick boy. How did he get up this mountain with a 7 constitution?
Well, he probably had different stats before he got that Quaddle Kiss.
Okay.
And now his con is just like
it's shot.
It not only
Or maybe
it
it's the
gave him
trip-
powers.
Maybe the trip made him sick. Like the trip took it out of him, and his body's like racked.
He got herpes from that kiss.
Or that. Okay, he got coatl herpes. He got celestial
herp.
Celestial transmitted disease.
Celestially transmitted. No, he got the Warlock Pact siphoned his.
It just swapped his stats.
Yeah,
around.
it swapped his stats around. It
Cool.
point buyed him and rearranged it.
So yeah, that's Sweet Boy, and
He's sweet, not well fortified.
and we're gonna call this a game. So we're gonna talk to you guys later. All right, bye.
Bye.
The Dungeoncast.